Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Another question from the audience?
Yeah, Kid Daniels, Infowars.com. Dr. Paul, if you could debate Bernie Sanders, what would you say to him? And what would you say to the supporters who think that socialism works?
What would I say to Bernie?
To Bernie and his supporters.
His supporters. You know, the closest thing I came, Bernie and I got along pretty well, and we talked a lot and knew exactly where we stood and respected each other's views. And I think Bernie might have voted to audit the Fed, if I'm not mistaken. So give him the benefit of the doubt. But the closest I came to a real debate with somebody like Bernie Sanders was with Barney Frank up at the University of Pennsylvania. And the point that I try to make is, you know, you do well as a principled progressive. And I can do this with Dennis Kucinich, whom I know very well, and say, well, you know, you don't want to use force in the military. You want to protect civil liberties, and you don't like all this war. And sometimes Dennis and I would be the only two voting against some war position. But I said, why, and I'll propose this to Barney too, is why is it that you won't apply that same principle to, you know, that you apply to social engagement, you know, in social and sexual matters? Hands off, as long as it's voluntary, and nobody, the government just should be out of it. They should be out of marriage and everything else. And they agree with that. I said, why don't you apply that to economics? And they come up and they say, they understand the consistency. They say, well, it's different because freedom in markets allow people to become too rich, you know, and then they run it and they own everything, and they will not listen to the argument that there's a difference between somebody getting bailed out by the Federal Reserve and they're on the specialist versus somebody who produces a good product and we vote them their money and they haven't cheated or stolen or given us bad products and they make a lot of money. Why? I think it's sort of an envy and resentment. But I talked to them, but I have to tell you that so far I haven't converted many diehard progressives, because some progressives, if you watch it on the internet, will have really close agreements and they might, you know, be talking about the same issue, but boy, they don't want to even introduce the notion that the libertarians are with them on this because they're terrified that we might encroach on their power to redistribute wealth. So it's a tough argument, but that's because they have a stronger belief. Others are sort of in the middle, and they can be influenced, and they can be converted.
DNA Force. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. DNA Force. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. DNA Force. We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force.